Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for XLM. I wanted to do a full in-depth analysis, including the market cap of this coin, because I've had a hard time finding all the data on it just from the exchanges. So I went to the CryptoCap ticker just to get as much history as is available. So on this one, it's very clean 5-wave move up in the market cap. And you can also throw on your channeling techniques, wave 2 off wave 4, extended off wave 3, right to the upper end of the channel, which is what we would expect for a impulse. So that all looks very nice as an impulse, very clean, 5 waves within the third, 5 waves within the fifth, and a leading diagonal for our wave 1. If we take wave 1 through 3, we came just shy of the 1-to-1. I would label this as a impulse. I can't really see how you would label this corrective, but it looks very nice. And then we had a 3-wave move to the downside as an ABC, or sorry, a WXY, double zigzag. I'll show you that in a moment. And when you're down in this area at the 382 and you have a WXY, so this is ABC, this is our X, and we have an ABC, WXY. You would expect to get potentially an impulse to the upside, and I can count this as an impulse and also a corrective pattern. Although I think the corrective pattern is most likely. But when you're looking at this, you would be considering the fact that that's an impulse, right? As a 1-2, 1-2. The issue is what happened here. So we pull our Fibonacci. This is just market cap. I'll show you on price too. It's very similar. Came to the 618. Good amount of time for the correction. But look what we get here. We get a garbage 3-wave move, right? What you'd expect in a reaction there at the 618 is actually a 5-wave move, right? And then we can get our third of the third, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and take off. But this is a big red flag. And that indicates that the correction is not complete, right? So one thing I'm considering, I'll show you this, is this actually made a new high above this wave 5 in market cap. So if we have a double zigzag here, this can be an A wave, this can be a B wave, it's double zigzag as well. And it does calculate as one. It comes to the 1.618 extension. Then we'd be looking for 5 waves to the downside. The issue with that is this overlaps wave 1. So in that case, I'm expecting 5 waves down for a C wave. We have our wave 1, 2, 3. This is a series of 3s. This can actually extend out as a triangle. And then we get our 5th wave down before our attempt for the next wave to the upside. So that's scenario 1. Obviously the E wave can't overlap wave 1, but this as a triangle, as long as it's not the end of it, can absolutely overlap some of the correction. So that's the bearish scenario. What's nice about that is because this B wave came above the 5th wave, it doesn't have to come below this low. It just needs one more move to the downside to complete 5 waves, right? We've already passed the 618 extension. So as long as our wave count is there for 5 waves at any point here, it can be considered complete. So that is if we are getting a flat. And then we attempt to the upside. Now there is a very bullish scenario, but it changes this count altogether. And hopefully you've spotted this. Sorry, I did map this out. This is what that would look like. We have our A, B, 1, 2, 3. We would extend out for a period of time, 4 and 5. Our 1-to-1's at 527 million. But again, we can pivot as long as we get one more move to the downside. We've already passed the 618. So any wave to the downside, I'd consider complete. And this can change slightly as well, because this can actually turn into a running flat. Like so. ABC, make a new low for our B wave. C wave comes up. C wave does not overlap wave 1. We can get that wave to the downside. That's how we would finish up a little bit quicker. So that's our bearish count, ABC. Now, my bullish count is, this is actually all a triangle. In that case, though, we can't have a triangle in a wave 2. So I would relabel this as an impulse in an A wave. We're getting close. This would be a B wave. Finishing up. Sorry, this is our B wave finishing up. And when it does finish, we'd be targeting that 1-to-1 to the upside for our C wave, way up to new highs. So that's the possibility too. Now I'm looking to find an entry into this trade. Reason being is the invalidation is so close. That's why I'm looking to take an entry here. I will make sure to update this as well. The bottom can technically be in now. But invalidation on that, I'll show you that on the price chart, is below this 1.815 billion, right? The C wave. As soon as we pass that, triangle no more. We're very, very close. And again, if we get one more move to the downside, this would have to turn into a triangle or a flat first, something like that. Then that could be our low. And we have our ABC, right? 5 waves to the downside. So unless you think this project is going to zero, there are opportunities coming up very soon. So I don't like the extension of this E wave, but things happen in the market, right? You can't control everything. This could just be the Mt. Gox scare here, how everything's getting ripped out of the crypto markets. It comes very close. I've seen many triangles come like one tick from invalidating and then take off. So it's not my job to assume what's happening. I just need to pay attention to what is actually valid and trade based on that information. So this is the trade I'm looking for. And invalidation for that is that C wave low. Okay, so get rid of that, get rid of that. And let's go to the price chart. So there's our triangle. I'm getting this from the market cap, remember. I'll make sure to start using market caps as well in updates, because they do add a lot more insight, make things easier to understand. I look at them in general, but I'll start throwing them in videos as well. So there's our ABC, ABC, diagonal. So our E wave as a triangle becomes invalidated according to Binance at 7.02 cents. So on your exchange, just throw it on the last pivot. That's your invalidation. So it's A, B, C, D, E. So is this the bottom? It's a pretty nice trade setup, because this is actually the all-time high. Remember, in the market cap, it would look, holy cow. It would look something like this, right? 2 all-time highs. Now this failed in Matic, if you remember. I took that trade too. It failed in Matic, but this one's holding up much better than Matic, right? It was a similar pattern, but ended up being a WXY, and we made that lower low. But I will take this trade every time, personally myself. Not financial advice, but I know another low, we'll most likely get going. We don't have to come below this low, remember, because this ends up being a flat. But yeah, it looks good. The other option, I'm just throwing this up there, is this was a 5-wave move. There is a way to count it. It involves running flats, but it also works as well. That would be our 1, 2. That's a flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for our third, and then a 4th wave flat in our 5th. And the issue with that, again, is this move here. This should have been our low. We passed the 618 on price already, and we should have started moving now. I'm only leaving this open because if we don't explode out in like a triangle thrust and we start coming up something like this, sorry, not like that. We have ABC, ABC, ABC. We'd come sideways, ABC, something like this, rather than the thrust. I'd be concerned of this all turning into a super long correction. So the timeline on this is pretty quick. If it starts doing anything else but the breakout thrust in the triangle, I'm pretty much done with this because you can see how much timeout extension there would be. But this is completely valid, and this could obviously also turn into some sort of diagonal 1, 2, 1, 2 in the bullish scenario, but again, we'd be waiting quite a long time. It would take a year to make that, right? Trades available, it's still a nice move, 500%, but obviously I want the triangle to play out. So that's what I'm looking at. I also looked at the XLM BTC. There's not really a good count on this. Again, there's not all the price history on it either. So I'm not really leaning into anything here too much. XLM versus BTC, I'm just kind of waiting for a trend to start here. There's slight divergence at the bottom, but doesn't look amazing either. Looks like a combination. Yeah, it's very difficult. It's an AB, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC, W. Expanded flat, WXY, WX. Yeah, you can see it's very difficult. So I'm not going to put much weight into XLM BTC until we get a pump up, right? And then I can start counting. I did mark off our 1-to-1. If we go as a W wave to here off the X, that would be at 5 zeros, 102, right? A drop of what? 30%, 28% versus BTC. But I consider these things complete anywhere between the 618 and the 1-to-1. As long as there's a completed pattern. I don't see any real pattern right now. It's a lot of 3-wave complex structures. So not putting too much into that. So we'll see. Do we get this triangle to the downside? Do we get the triangle to the upside? To the upside? Invalidation's really close. So I'm interested in that. But what I will do, this is kind of a long video, but in a couple days I will give an update at the lows if anything changes here. Just remember, there's our invalidation right there. So we want to see this turn impulsive and get moving. So we'll go over this count on the next video later in the week. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.